Lizzie from YouTube asked, I might have a question for your next live video. Which mobile operators do you recommend for pay-as-you-go SIM cards when traveling in New Zealand?
All right. Do you want to get started? Tell us what network we have in your country.
So in New Zealand, the main networks that you'll find are Vodafone, there's also Spark, and there's also 2 Degrees. They're the 3 main ones, and usually their prices are very much similar. They are all competing against each other. But a branch of the Spark network is called Skinny, and we find that they do have much cheaper prices on their network than those 3 main competitors. There's also other small phone networks as well, but I think we sort of just stick to Skinny because we know that is the cheapest way to go, and that's definitely the ones that we personally use for traveling in New Zealand.
That's for sure. So I'm actually just looking right now at my Skinny plan because that's the one that we actually are using. But yeah, so just one thing about the 3 network is that obviously there are much more brands than that, but those 3 networks, Vodafone, Spark, and 2 Degrees, are the only one that have towers around New Zealand. So they're the one that have all the coverage around the country. And then all the other little brands like Skinny, they buy the minutes from Spark or Vodafone or 2 Degrees. Now the best coverage is Spark, then Vodafone kicks in second, and 2 Degrees has not great coverage. So I know that 2 Degrees give free SIM cards to everybody. They have like those visitors plan and all of that, but honestly, it's not necessarily worth it to do it that way, just because it doesn't work that way as soon as you get off the beaten track, basically. Now, there are going to be some areas where you're not going to have coverage with Spark, but you're going to have coverage with Vodafone. And there are going to be some areas where you're going to have coverage with Vodafone, but not with Spark. It's normal. It does happen everywhere. And New Zealand has a lot of mountains around. So wherever there's a tower, that's how it works. But don't worry, if there is an emergency situation, no matter which network you are with, your phone will be able to call 111, which is the emergency services in New Zealand. Again, it's 111. Don't get used to call 911. That wouldn't work. You want to call 111 in an emergency in New Zealand. Anyway, let's get back to the question at hand. And Skinny, we find it the cheapest. We pay about $16 per month, and we on prepay. So how it works is that rather than kind of paying as you go, as you call, which is always slightly bit more expensive, with all the prepays in New Zealand, you can buy little combos. So for example, ours for $16 a month give us 2 gigabytes of data and give us unlimited call and unlimited text. It's rather cheap and it's pretty handy. Now the most popular plan with Skinny, I think at the moment is $46 and give you 12 gigabytes of data and unlimited call and unlimited text. Again, unlimited call and unlimited text though is just in New Zealand and Australia. It doesn't cover you calling back home. This is a bit of an add-on, but I think you can get like a few hundred minutes for like $5 or $10. You can do all the add-ons on the app. It's very handy, very easy. Aside from the fact that the app just crashed when I picked up my phone and I wanted to read from it, but that happens. So that's basically how it works. That's pretty much it for it. Compare the prices, obviously, and check out on Backpacker Guide. We have a comparison kind of articles where we compare all of them. It changes so often, so we try to keep the article up to date, but it changes very regularly.
Prices do change quite often, but usually nothing too extreme out of what we mention on our website. So we do, like Robin said, try to keep those updated. But I'd just like to mention one last thing about those combos that you can get with Skinny is that they're super flexible. So if your circumstances changed, for instance, when you first arrive in New Zealand, you don't know that many people, so you're not likely to be texting and calling and, like Facebook messaging people as often when you first arrive in New Zealand. So you can get a lower plan, which is like super, super cheap. They do have some really cheap plans. But then as you start to find that you're using your phone more and things, then you can, always change your combo depending on what your circumstances are. So I think that's also a really good thing to note as well for phones in New Zealand. Also, one last thing is you need to make sure that your phone, if you're bringing your own phone from home, you need to make sure that it actually works in New Zealand, because there's different, what's it called, bandwidths?
Yeah, so they use different bands. All the companies use different band networks. So you need to check the compatibility of your phone, because, well, you may actually have to buy like a cheap ass phone and just, put your SIM in it. There is some phones for like $9 or $20 in New Zealand, so that's quite easy. So all the brands have actually compatibility tests on their website, and we'll link to those places on BackpackerGuide.NZ, so you can put the EMIE number of your phone on it, and it will tell you, oh, it's compatible or it's not. So that's really important that you do this test, so you can choose which one actually works with your phone if you really want to keep your phone. Now, you don't need to have like a SIM card from each network, just in case. Honestly, you just drive 30 minutes and then you can call, and you don't need to call every vacant second of your trip. Now, as a follow-up, actually, we do have some questions popping up in the chat about actually specific coverage for Skinny. Does Skinny cover Franz Joseph, Queenstown, Milford Sound, and Waitomo? From memory, from the last time we went there, it didn't cover Milford Sound, but covered everything else. So it did cover Franz Joseph, yes. It did cover Queenstown, absolutely yes, no brainer. It did cover Waitomo, yes. Term and conditions apply. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I remember correctly.
Unless you're in a cave, everywhere else is going to be fine.
But almost no matter what, you won't really have coverage in Milford Sound. So you have to know that you're out of coverage when you go to Milford Sound. And, it's a great, peaceful place. And so why would you want to actually, Snapchat about it? Just take the time to enjoy the place and Snapchat later. Speaking of Snapchat, I will Snapchat, Laura.
Oh, we were, but...
Oh, no, we know Snapchat. All right, next question.
Let's just skim that.
All right, so Lizzie, I hope that answered your question. If you do have any follow-up, putting it on and just let us know. We are here live, so, we like questions.